2 months had passed. William had gifted us a sky speaker so we could communicate with him better. The Broncos were in the finest shape, working well together, their fighting skills heightened, weapons sharpened, horses prepared. It was time to leave. Tea was of little importance. Whatever secret she was holding wouldn't affect the outcome of Aeon Villa. He didn't want to risk her pregnancy by stressing her, for the child did nothing. I spent time with her still, but she started to stop speaking of names and more on finding her place in the city, perhaps working as a healer. She started to speak on herbs, saying it was coming back to her some. I said my farewells to her, wishing her the best in her birthing. I had helped with keeping the horses fit as the men trained. A good horse under you in a fight is worth more than a skittish one in battle. Colt proudly sat on Diligence, looking to the men on their horses, Rano among them. At the front, but he would go to the back to keep those from straggling once we started moving. You all have trained hard. I am at ease that it will make the battle, but do not let this tempt you on an easy win in your thoughts. This will be a long road. And along the way you shall keep up the training. It will be days of travel with nights of training, little sleep, little understanding. But those I see before me, my men, I believe will show the world the strength of a Bronco. Colt had told no one of his plan. He knew it would make many leave, and we needed numbers. Perhaps it was selfish on our part, but in all, we wanted the same things. The Broncos on their horses were silent, kept in line by Rano. Colt looked to them. Then let's move out. I was upon Atropos's back. I placed my hand on his curly fur. His mane bounced with every hoofbeat as we walked. I loved his rhythm. I couldn't really imagine leaving him behind after this was all done and said with. But then I looked over to Colt on Diligence, the leaves under the horse's feet, his breath making a cloud as he took out a deep breath through his mouth. His leather jacket creaked from the cold, his long black hair flowing down his back, his hands holding to the reins loosely. He corrected any horse's hoof placement with only a twitch of his finger. In truth, he really didn't need reins at all. I knew we might move to his father's homeland, but I wasn't expecting such big changes. But I love him for that. But I also worried what this was going to put on him. I would follow him anywhere he wished to be because I knew his heart and his mind, and there was nothing but a kind-hearted man. That just wanted the world to calm. Sometimes I just found myself staring at him. He was looking into the distance, but I could feel him looking toward me at the same time. He slightly turned his head to me. "Is something on your mind, Snowfeather?" I took a breath of my own, holding my coat closed tightly. I hated the cold. I was always cold, even in the summers. Nothing really. I was just thinking, what if Threepwood has figured out how to use things against us? Colt slowed Diligence slightly. "It won't be easy, I know, and I will not be counting on your blood. I really think they're all wrong on that. Yes, it seems to stop certain things, but I'm afraid it might have the reverse effect on a Haralt's, reactivating his. And I think our Haralts had the same suspicions, and that's why there were so many of your sisters duplicated." I nodded slightly, understanding his words. "But wouldn't they have the same blood type as me? If they are clones like I am?" Colt's voice softened. "We do not know that for certain, my Snowfeather." Just then Ben came cantering up on his large horse from behind. Clearly he had been listening in. "I know what happened, and I know who you are, Mare. I was uncertain till now, but I had my suspicions. But my question to you, girl, is do you truly want to know?" Colt looked to him, continuing forward. I looked to him. "It's not if I want to know or not. We need to know." Ben, still popping on gum, smacked out, spoken like a leader. "Now, do you want to know now, or would you prefer we make camp?" I looked to him. "I don't want to be thinking on it for the rest of the day on what you may know. Just tell me, please." Ben nodded slightly. "Very well. As you know, I worked in Haralt's underground for some time. But there are some things that you do not know before the first rebellion when a man of the herd is tested. With his blood to see if he stayed with the herd or left to Haralt's, sometimes Haralt's would require more." Colt turned slightly. "More?" Colt questioned as Ben continued calmly. "The ceremony would be finished, and Haralt's would send someone to retrieve specimens from us. There was no refusing. We were young men, and it didn't take much to force what they wished to take." Marshall was also chosen for this when he came of age, but I didn't want my son to know what I, at his age, was put through. So that night, before they came to the camp, I drugged him greatly. He remembered nothing, and I regret nothing to this day. He does not know. Years later, in the pipes, I found out what was going on. I got it out of the few Harolds trusted around his main parts, and it was very few, so I made myself a key and stole a card from an upper named Carlos. Going into the chambers deep down, I found only what I cannot describe better than, more than a water-filled tube with a child growing inside. A label said sesquizygotic twin Vita. It was almost a ready-to-be-born child with dark hair. As I looked at the panel, I noticed 2 frozen vials lift from an opening in the machine. At the time, I had no true idea what I was looking at, but then I read the first vial. In small words, it said Vita 1, Vita 2, Father Benjamin, Mother Eruxum. I looked to the second vial, and it read as AZ1, Father Marshall, Mother Eruxum. I knew no Eruxum in my lifetime and never came across one in the park. Her identity is still a mystery I have yet to solve, just as I was thinking on what to do. People in suits and masks rushed in, 4 big guys holding me to the floor. Their voices sounded electronic. Are they still viable? One voice shouted to the team examining them. Sir, it's above the regulated temp for Vial 1. Vial 2 is not compromised. What procedure should we do? They seemed rushed. I remember the one that seemed to be leader groan in anger. Prepare a surrogate. It's our only option. The boss is not going to be happy about this. Which one, sir? Go down the list. Find one with no other kids. Do I have to do everything? Then he bent down, looking to me. You've done it now. I can't wait to see what the boss has planned for you. Then I was blacked out. Luckily for me, but not for him. Apparently it was Carlos in the suit, and the way Harolds worked with the scan card when it came time to put the intruder down, they took Carlos to his surprise. I'm sure. Nevertheless, I talked my way from the cell, saying I got locked in by my own stupidity trying to fix a broken toilet. And without really any question I was let out, but I never knew what happened till when I first heard your name. Then I had my suspicions. You looked to be in the right age, but Vita was a popular name, and so I didn't think much on it till you spoke of the others like you. I'm very good at remembering Vita. And I can tell you that happened 22 years ago, give or take, and that would explain 2 of you the same age. And I'm not certain, but I imagine your brother is the original as well, being he was given to the same parent, Set, and not sent off to Abira's kingdom. So wait, does that make you my father? Ben scratched his head. I suppose it does, and to the others at that, but I would bet my bottom teeth you are the original. I looked to him. But how could the others have different blood than me? It still doesn't explain it. Ben shook his head slightly. Vita, you were one of 2 embryos. My guess is Harolds was using the wrong embryo by some fault, whether it was intentional or not. He only had 1 incubator, I guess you could call it, and my guess is Vita 2 had unicorn blood, so once considered viable, there was no choice but to let it live because of his programming, and they were sent off. I continued, but Vita 2, Dita, she has brown hair. All the others have red hair like me, except little May, not to mention there are ones older and younger than me, so how can I be the original? I believe the others were genetically altered, you possibly as well, completed in different ways, trying to find the right algorithm for what Harolds needed. And yes, from what you said, there are younger ones than you, but Vita, do not forget they had the child in the incubator of Vita too. They only had her left, Vita, and I believe they used her to make the rest. I whispered. But what did they do to her? Ben popped another bubble. I don't know. I imagine Harolds used her to make your younger sisters, and Harolds knew you were a unicorn, but he never got your blood because of that fact. If so, that could have been a mess, and why you were not used like your twin who clearly had a different blood type than you. I want you to understand if there would have been more of you with your blood, they would not have been given to Abira in my thinking. As for ages, you and your twin were frozen. Your twin used many times to collect samples to make the others older than you. They would have been kept by someone that could keep it alive with little effort, but there is none missing age-wise, so you are the only one, Vita, by some miracle. I looked down, trying to gather my thoughts. But why was I given to your son's wife? Why are you my father who is my mother? and Dita my twin, who was she given to be birthed. Ben leaned to one side. Lass, I cannot tell you who your mother is. More than likely Harltz had a lot of eyes on Ebenezer, so it was just a convenience to keep the same eyes on you, though I doubt your father even knew you were related to our family in any way, or that he was raising his nephew. As for me, well, I'm sorry this gruff old man is your father. I'm a bit long in the tooth, and you're a bit too long in the hair for me to be really any part of your life. I looked up to him slightly. Did you ever tell Lavender? Who you are or Henry? Wait, that means Henry is my half-brother then, and Lavender my half-sister? Ben smiled, shaking his head. Lavender has a wonderful father, Marshall, as did you, my dear. There's no need for me to muddy things up. Old Henry is probably listening in. Colt, tell him to keep it to himself.